Off the coast of Corsica lies a fortune the treasure hunters have been dreaming of for years. Rommel's treasure, the booty of an SS special unit that extorted more than 450 pounds of gold from Tunisian Jews in 1943, when the African campaign came to an end. This ransom saved them from being deported and murdered in the Auschwitz gas chambers. Field Marshal Rommel, the Desert Fox, knew nothing of the SS's sinister business. The special unit landed with its booty in Bastia and deposited it in the monastery of St. Anthony. The 6 watertight, lead-coated treasure chests contained, besides gold ingots, platinum, jewels, and diamonds, originally from the safes of various Tunisian banks.
What's with the sour faces?
Nothing. We searched the whole area around Marion. There where things look really interesting. The aquasets working the entire area parallel to here, nothing.
Stow the sad looks. Tomorrow's another day.
Oh God, it's just so frustrating. But I've got this gut feeling something's down there.
For me, the Rommel treasure is over, finished, dead, and good riddance. No one talks about it anymore. A silly legend.
On en a entendu parler en France, hein?
No idea. We heard about it in France, that's right. And where is it? No idea, but we've heard about it. We don't know where it is for sure, but it's back there by Bastia. I've heard a lot about it. Does it really exist? Oh, the Rommel treasure. So many people have come here hunting for it. 40 years ago, they talked about something like that being near La Marana, this thing of Rommel's. Hard to say. If it ever really existed, it would have been found years ago. Or else, it's so well hidden, it won't be found for another 50 years. The Rommel treasure is an old tall tale, a myth. The Rommel treasure, it means nothing to me, understand?
In September 1943, when the German front on the island of Corsica collapsed, a specially designed suicide squad was supposed to bring the loot from Bastia to the Italian port of La Spezia on a fishing boat. The maneuver failed in the fire of American fighter bombers. The men were forced to sink their treasure hastily. It now lies in a depth of 100 to 200 feet, covered with sand. The hunting ground lies in the Gulf of Bastia, off the Cape of Corsica. Klaus Kepler, a specialist in this kind of recovery operation, has searched for Rommel's treasures.
Vom Rommelschatz habe ich das erste Mal gehört, so in den Anfang 70er Jahre.
I first learned about the Rommel treasure back in the early 70s, 73, 74. You've got to keep in mind we use this equipment professionally. We make deep-sea measurements, ocean floor studies, search after wrecks and things that have gone down.
Dann reizt einem unwillkürlich auch mal einer Story oder einer
Then suddenly some tale grabs hold of you, some legend, and you have the equipment to go after it, the money to invest, and so you finally have the chance to go after something incredibly interesting. And I want to fulfill at least one dream of my youth, utterly fulfill it, and I want to know with absolute certainty, does the treasure lie between Bastia and North Cape or not?
Kepler is the head of a diving and salvage company, a man with years of experience, who was also a great help to the Criminal Investigation Department in their search for a yacht that had sunk in Lake Constance. Was it an accident, or was it murder? Kepler has the endurance of a hunter and a gambler alike. The cost of one of these treasure hunts is very high. Bad weather and stormy seas can destroy all hopes and plans. Should that happen, he will have lost his money.
We were first commissioned to look for the treasure by a well-known lawyer. He represented a former SS officer, and they came in my office and for all practical purposes hired me to go salvage a few crates, supposedly ditched off the Corsican coast. At first, I nearly died laughing, because they pinpointed a single spot and said it was accurate to within 150 feet. That was the first time I'd ever heard of it, and since then I've hunted after the Rommel treasure regularly. Yeah, I know that General Rommel, Field Marshal Rommel, didn't actually have anything to do with it, that his name gets misused mainly because he led the campaign in Tunisia, the African campaign, and that's where they say the treasure comes from. Right now I'm going to show you exactly where it lies, here. Now we just have to show up and make one dive.
Je m'appelle d'abord Saladini Lucien et je suis maire de Maginage où nous sommes. J'ai entendu parler du trésor de Rommel.
My name is Saladini Lucien. I'm the mayor of Macchinaggio. Of course I've heard of the Rommel treasure, like every Corsican.
Pour rejoindre le continent,
When Rommel left Tunisia, his troops crossed Sardinia and Corsica.
Et au moment où les troupes allemandes
And after crossing Corsica, they boarded transports.
s'embarquaient à Bastia sous un
The Americans attacked these ships, and it's said that the Rommel treasure, whatever it was, got tossed overboard by officers of the German Navy.
trésor de Rommel, dont je ne connais pas ce qu'il comporte, bien sûr, mais aurait été jeté à la mer. Beaucoup de personnes ont
To
cherché.
this day, lots of people have looked for it, but as far as I know, nobody's ever found the thing.
Moi, je pense que c'est vraisemblable que sous le violent bombardement que les Américains ont fait sur
When the Americans attacked Bastia, a great many people were killed,
par le pressé
and I
par
think
les
it's
événements,
possible the crew of a German ship dumped the treasure overboard.
un bateau de guerre allemand, vraisemblablement, ont dû craindre que
They were afraid the Americans would capture the ship and take everyone prisoner.
ce trésor à la mer. Et c'est d'autant plus vrai que
What makes it believable is people come here to dive and look for the treasure.
plonger et chercher parce que un des chercheurs
And one of these divers heard about it in jail from another prisoner who was part of the Corsican evacuation. The man was in jail for some reason or other, and he told about this treasure being tossed overboard.
étant prisonnier en prison quelque part.
Then he came here himself and dove and searched for a long time, but he never found anything, as far as I know.
À une tierce personne qui est ensuite revenue et qui a cherché pendant longtemps, qui a plongé souvent sans jamais rien trouver, tout au moins que je sache.
Former SS Obergruppenführer Walter Kirner is the sole survivor of that special squad on the fishing boat. He now lives in seclusion in Löffingen in the Black Forest.
We had a regular feast there in the kitchens of the San Antonio Monastery, but I never stuck my nose in the buildings. I only heard the crates were supposedly, now I can't swear to this, were supposedly moved from Tripoli to Corsica, then were stored at the monastery for 8-10 weeks, and were supposed to be transported to Berlin without drawing anyone's attention.
The monks of St. Anthony's were eyewitnesses of the dramatic events. When the withdrawal of German troops began on Corsica, the SS brought the treasure chests onto the fishing boat. The abbot, long since laid to rest in the monastery's graveyard, as well as his monks, were afraid the SS would shoot them because they knew too much about the operation. After the war, Abbot Mathieu revealed what had happened. In 1948, Kirner tried to find the treasure chests with the help of a forged passport bearing the name of Peter Fleig. The French police, the Sûreté Nationale, arrested and interrogated him. Kiernan did not reveal the position of the sunken treasure.
C'est tout ce que nous pouvons savoir à l'heure actuelle de ce trésor dont on a tant parlé, le trésor de Rommel.
Kampfraum Mittelmeer. Die Insel Korsika wurde laut Wehrmachtbericht vom 5. Oktober befehlsgemäß geräumt. Die deutschen Truppen setzten mit ihren schweren Waffen und allem Gerät auf das Festland über. Die Verbände der Kriegsmarine vollbrachten bei der Räumung Korsikas eine gewaltige Leistung, obwohl nur Kleinschiffsraum eingesetzt werden konnte.
In der Früh sind wir aus Bastia ausgelaufen und dann sind wir dann rausgefahren.
In the morning, we left the port of Bastia and sailed, I'd say, some 3 miles. And then we got to work and hoisted the truck over the stern. Hard work. Back over the so-called trawl drum, where they kept the fishing nets wound.
Laufrolle, wo die großen Fischernetze hochgezogen wurden. And
we had to unsnag the truck. It got so bound up. Had to undo everything. And then we dumped the truck in the sea, at depths we'd sounded at around 150 feet.
Und meinte, es wäre eine Tiefe ungefähr von 50 bis 48, 50 Meter, aber das Schiff hat ja nicht geankert und da sind wir.
But the ship wasn't anchored, and so we were always drifting around, you see. Then Macanaggio's harbor got attacked by air, and there was still a German anti-aircraft gun up in the hills, and they shot down a machine, a light bomber, and it crashed in the sea about 250 feet away from our ship.
In die See reingestürzt, ne?
Da ist eine Zange drauf. Mensch, Klaus, da ist eine Zange drauf.
You've got something. Wow, Klaus, you've got something. Starboard, 300 feet.
Siehst du was?
See anything? Klaus, do you see anything?
Siehst du was?
An airplane?
Ein Flugzeug.
An airplane.
Wir brauchen die Kamera, sagst du?
You say you need the camera? What?
Gut.
You can see it for sure?
Okay, Klaus, wir fahren dann.
We'll go back and pick up the camera.
Ich weiß, dass wir, wenn wir hier suchen, ununterbrochen misstrauisch beobachtet werden.
I expect to be watched without interruption whenever we hunt here. Even the Corsican Freedom Movement is suspicious. Again and again we notice the military launches patrolling the area. The Navy watches our every move. But good God, when such an enormous treasure, let's say, when talk of a treasure starts making the rounds, before you know it, everyone's interested. Then, supposing someone actually finds it, so many groups suddenly come popping out of the woodwork, each with its own claim. Such a legal tangle. Things get preposterous.
Das ist ein ganz schwieriges Eisen, ein ganz heißes Eisen. Tout passe pas par. Toute personne. Ok, passe pas.
Oui, oui. Ici.
Ok. Charme libéré. Au revoir, monsieur. Au revoir. Salut à votre. Weiter. Gut, stopp, einblenden, so ist richtig. Ja, mach die Profile an. Da ist ein Flügel.
There's a wing, and there's a wing.
Das ist der Bomber sein. Das ist der Bomber. Guck mal, 2 Motoren.
Look here, you can make out 2 motors. Man, that's a sharp picture.
Boys, we've got it. We found it.
Noch ein bisschen höher.
That has to be the bomber.
That's for sure. Look at the wing. Yeah, the motor's broken off. There's a piece lying over there. That's the bomber. And Fleig said it's near this bay, some 650 yards from the bombed-out house.
That means we're 100% right.
So if the bomber's here, and Fleig said he poked around this bay looking for the bomber but never found it, that would have been 650 yards to around over there. Later we can measure the distances precisely, but we know we're right.
No doubt about it. But then comes the question, with such heavy crates, they could be buried under 6-8 feet of sand.
No worry there, we've got a sediment analyzer.
Kannst sehen? Ja, hier oben. US Army Air Corps. Englisch. Air Corporation G1. Ja. Excite. Excite. 12 Phase, nichts. Capacity 12 Amp. Made in USA. Made in USA.
So it's not only plain that we knew exactly where.
Den Standort genau festzulegen, gibt man natürlich zu viele Geheimnisse.
To determine the position exactly would be giving away too many secrets, but it's safe to say that it lies along the North Cape's east coast. I've no doubt that the treasure's authentic because I'm a realist, and there's far too much reliable evidence. So it's not just me wanting to fulfill some pipe dream of my youth and the enthusiasm of the other crew members that brings us here, but a number of hard facts.
Es sprechen zu viele Fakten dafür. The
most important of these are, for instance, a statement by the abbot that the treasure is authentic. Then there's the depositions in the Bundesarchiv to the effect that the gold treasure was brought here by the NS, the SS, and the Nazi Party without the knowledge of the regular army. There's also the fact that the soldiers who accompanied the transport were all murdered in Italy. You have to consider that it cost Fleig a fortune to buy his way out of an SS internment camp, and that he was a complete non-swimmer. But then suddenly he learned how to dive and came back here in '48, risking his life, risking everything, only to land behind bars again. Another important point is the French government's enormous interest in the treasure and so on. There's far too many hard facts. The treasure is for real.
There was one eyewitness of that sinking the crew of the fishing boat knew nothing about. The French diver Louis Borde, who revealed to the press after the war, "In the night of September 17th, 1943, I was with Corsican partisans in the village of Porretta, on the Gulf of Bastia. With my field glasses, I could see a ship with no flag in the dawn. I climbed up on a rock to get a better view of the vessel and watched as several men dumped large boxes into the water. When the boat was liberated from the weight of the boxes, it rose out of the waves. Then it lay on the completely calm sea as though lost in an eerie dream. Baude later found out this was Rummel's treasure. He made several attempts to relocate it, but failed. Somewhere under the sand, scanned by the sonic depth finder, lies the reward for your fear. Frogmen from the French Navy have searched for Rummel's treasure, but found only grenades, rusty anchors, and other junk. But an amateur diver named Jean-Napoleon Peretti, 42, a real estate agent, discovered a cave in the summer of 1969, 8.5 fathoms below the surface, where he found lead-coated boxes. They were held together by a steel net. Peretti and his team of divers were unable to budge the heavy boxes, and the steel mesh held them together like a giant spider clinging to its prey. Peretti gave up trying to surface the boxes. He had heard of the mysterious deaths connected with Rummel's treasure, and his life was worth more to him than the gold. No one ever found the cave again. The saddest story of all was the fate of Captain Ludwig Dahl's crew, the special squad who had sunk the treasure in the first place. SS officers had organized the maneuver to divide up Rummel's treasure amongst themselves. They planned to use the money to finance new lives after the war. Now it lay on the ocean floor. The SS accused the 5 men and their commander of mutiny and cowardice in the face of the enemy, and brought them before a court-martial. The sentence, execution by firing squad. As far as the SS was concerned, they knew too much. The only man the SS needed was Obergruppenführer Kirner, who knew the whereabouts of the boxes. After the war, he tried to find them several times, but without any luck.
Ob ich etwas gefunden habe, ist eine sehr direkte Frage.
If I've ever found everything is a very direct question. Let's just say I don't live in financial worry.
Allez, on reprend le riz. Tirez. Très bien. Tirez.
Old Corsicans cling to the superstition that a ghostly hand protects the treasure of the desert fox, and that it will kill anyone who comes near it. Louis Baude, the diver who witnessed the sinking of the treasure through his field glasses, searched for Rummel's treasure in the 1950s. One day, he said, a man has only one partner to work with against the sea: patience.